Hey everyone, Gooey here,
And Mossies.
and we're continuing our discussions on Breath of the Wild. This time around, we're talking about Vah Ruta, the divine beast of the Zoras.
Right. I first like to point out the name. I hate that all of the dungeons in this game were, like, they need to be a little more original.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember what the full name of it. What's with the Va, first of all? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a title or if it's like an article.
Yeah. Like, I remember even when I was writing the guide, I didn't even know how to name this dungeon. I'm not going to call it Divine Beast Vah Ruta, So I ended up calling it the Vah Ruta dungeon. But, like, I think the names are just so unmemorable. I don't think people are going to remember them because of how they're named. Maybe if they just didn't have the Va in there. There's just too much repetition with the naming in this game. But, like, when you compare it to other games, when you think of the dungeons in the other games, like, there's Dragon Roosts, there's Arbiter's Grounds, there's Goron Mine, memorable names. This doesn't have it. But that's just a name.
Yeah, that kind of goes with something that I think they went a little too far with, and we've talked about this with other things in the game, is that they were maybe trying to have this overall theme, and so they were trying to have there are all these beasts, and they kind of wanted to tie them together, and it would make sense that they would all have a similar title or something like that,
Right.
especially if they're like Sheikah technology. But yeah, I can understand why they did it, but it seems like they went a little too far.
Instead of calling it Divine Beast Va, they should have just called it, like, Ancient Elephant Ruta.
That sounds like how they will give like the subtitles to the bosses in the games.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about how it kind of felt like the first one you're supposed to do, like the game almost makes you believe that, maybe by its location.
Right. It was the first one I did, and it was the first one you did too.
Yeah.
I wonder if most people was the first one that they went to. I imagine. I'd like to do a poll almost. What was the first one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just set that up on the site or something.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea, and definitely let us know in the comments. Like, let us know the order of the dungeons you did, the divine beasts you did.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to see.
So because, like, it was the first one for me, everything in the game felt new. Like I was still, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours into the game, and I was just speeding through the main quest to get to the Zora area. And so a lot of the, like, normal game mechanics I didn't quite understand yet. But, like, even so the pathway, like, leading up to the Zora area, like, I remember I just leaped off that giant mountain right by Kakariko. And the reason I went to the Zora area is because you see a bunch of Zoras just in the swamp area, and they're like, yeah, go over to that bridge. This guy's looking for a Hylian. Like,
right. None of the other areas when you're in that region, I think, have people going, come to Goron City or.
Yeah, I think all the other 3 regions though, specifically the Goron and Gerudo one, it's kind of a linear path to get there. Because you're like the desert, you're sort of going right through a little mountain range, like through a narrow path. The Gorons it's just mountains and there's one road basically.
Right.
The Lanayru region is wide open.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like they're like, go over there. It's like garage sale. Come check us out.
For sure. And on that trip, you meet Prince Sidon. I think that's his name. And he kind of cheers you on as you go up the way.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cute, actually.
I like his theme.
His theme is cool.
He kind of interrupts you too many times, though.
You think so?
Well, I'm playing through my second time now, and I just went through that area again, and it's like, all right, enough. Like, I'm playing especially now because I'm running through it, and I see him 4 times in a span of like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's kind of nice because it's like there's the bookends, and there's like the one thing in the middle
Yeah.
with his interactions, and yeah, he's an endearing character. I
I
think.
like him actually, and I like that you can. He's there in Zora's Domain, I think, for the whole game too, and I think he's always in different locations in Zora's Domain too.
Oh really?
So you can talk to him, and he's everybody else in Zora's Domain had like high regards for him.
That's yeah.
So he was a cool character.
And he sends you to get the shock arrows.
No, it's that other guy. That
Oh yeah.
the guy who's playing hard to get a little bit. He's like, we don't need this Hylian. Like this.
Yeah, he's kind of a salty guy.
Yeah, I liked his I like how they sort of did this with Majora's Mask actually, where the Zoras. Ocarina of Time, there was only one type of Zora. Like they all looked alike except for King Zora, I guess.
Yeah.
But then like Majora's Mask came around, they sort of some of the Zoras had different looks a little bit. This game, there's so many different types of Zoras. There's the little baby Zoras, the regular Zoras.
Yeah, they did that with almost everybody, really.
Yeah. Not so much the Gorons, I guess, but
Yeah, but there's still the babies and yeah, that Goron's a whole nother story. But yeah, seeing baby Zoras was pretty. They're probably the most adorable of all the children in the game.
oh no, the baby Rito.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're like little Muppets almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get sent up and to collect the shock arrows from the Lionel.
Oh God. So that was when I first discovered the Lionel, and that brought a smile to my face when I found. And I tried to kill him, and I died like 30 times in a row.
Oh yeah.
Severely underpowered. He was one-shotting me with everything. At one point I tried sneaking up behind him and just throwing bombs one at a time. I think he had 2,000 health, and I think I got him down to like 1,800 and something. But,
I'd be interested to like hear about someone's playthrough where that was the last dungeon they did. So when they got to that Lionel, they were more OP, or maybe they even had shock arrows.
okay.
I would wonder what that's like if the guy's just like, oh, you already have shock arrows.
Yeah. Do you even need to do that quest?
Let us know.
I don't even know. I'm like right at that part actually in my second playthrough. I'm at Zora's Domain, but I didn't talk to that guy yet.
Oh,
So, yeah, I guess you probably wouldn't have to, but you still need to go up there to get to the dungeon, don't you? Or is there a route?
there's got to be another route.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, yeah, there are still things we don't know about this game. Like
Right.
we were talking the little boss battle, or not even the boss battle, the full-blown boss battle you do before entering the dungeon.
Yeah. Probably one of my favorite boss battles in the game, actually.
Yeah.
Actually I would say it's my favorite one.
Okay.
Like number one overall. Because we kind of talked about the bosses of the dungeons.
Oh yeah.
And they're all a blur. Nothing is exciting to me of those. And then there's the 4 divine beasts. The Goron one's not really a boss battle, but the other ones are kind of super. I guess none of them are that hard. This one just seemed kind of epic. The guy's bringing you across the water, then you leap up and you shoot him with the arrows. I mean, it's
The objective was a little bit more complex than just shoot it here.
right. Yeah. There was like phases. At
Yeah.
least. And I struggled a little bit at first because I was not playing it right. I did not know the ice blocks that he shoots at you. I didn't know you can just use Cryonis.
Yeah, that's still blowing my mind to this moment. We both did the same thing.
Yeah, I was shooting him with arrows, and then I ran out of arrows, and I think I was trying to deflect them with a sword. And I don't know. I think you can do that. But
Really?
the precision is. I don't know if you can do it or if I just got luck. I don't know.
I ran out of arrows, and I still had like 15 shock arrows, and I was just like, oh, I hope I don't run out. I'm gonna use these now. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, but you can just use Cryonis, and like I imagine if either of us played him a second time, he's really easy.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
It was fun because it was the first one as well.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was awesome. Everything was new at this point too. So it was great.
Yeah. Once you got inside, what did you think?
So like right away, so you got sort of like Mifa. She's talking to you,
Yes.
She's like guiding you along the way. So right away, the first objective is to go get the map, and you go and get the map, and then it's like, whoa, look at this map. Like, 'cause this was the first dungeon I've played, so I haven't seen these 3D model maps.
Yeah.
Kind of disorienting looking at them. Kind of confusing as well. So when I was playing this dungeon, I got really lost, and I did not like. I wasn't. This was a 2-hour dungeon for me because I did not know the big ideal of the dungeon.
Right.
I did not know that you can manipulate the dungeon.
You're just trying to figure it out.
And I swear to God, when I was playing it, after I figured it out, I'm like, there is no way they told me you could do this. They were just expecting you. Then I went back and watched my video of me playing, and there's a cutscene that takes place. Mifa is talking to you. So she gives you all this like advice, do this, whatever. She's giving you the big idea of the dungeon. And then she stops talking, and you control your player. So you can finally start moving around. And then a little text box appears. By the way, you can manipulate the map in your start menu.
Yeah, she almost leaves out the most important piece of information.
If she said one thing, it was press start, look at your map, figure it out. That would have been more helpful than anything else she said. So,
oh my goodness.
There was the puzzle where it's the big water wheel, and there was the ball, and I think you had to hit the switch, open the gate, and you had to jump in. The one that's in the big circle.
Yeah, you use stasis on it.
I was trying to use stasis. Oh, you do use stasis to solve it,
but when
the water wheel was not moving, I was trying to use stasis and throwing bombs and like launching it, and then I was on that puzzle forever, and then I figured it out. I finally looked at the map, and it's like, what are these No way. And I finally learned it. Then I loved it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like the concept of controlling the parts of the dungeon itself?
Oh yeah. And as far as I can think of, there's very few dungeons in the Zelda series that are like this, I think. I think they kind of dabbled with this with Skyward Sword a little bit, with like the sand ship, where there was like the past and present
I can see that,
where the dungeon gets manipulated based on, like, in that case, time period. And so, but this was like the whole dungeon was themed around manipulating it. And it brought like a new aspect of puzzle solving. So it wasn't just there's already so many tools at your disposal in this game. It's like you see an objective. There's a terminal there. You got to get to it. How do you get to it? Oh, you can use magnesis. You can use stasis. You can you have all your runes, or your weapons. In this case, it was none of the above. It was you had to adjust the map.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole nother degree of thinking that went into the puzzle solving.
Do you like that kind of design as compared to the more traditional dungeons?
I loved it because this was the first one I played. But, as I got to the second dungeon, and then when I got to the third dungeon, it's like, okay, every single one of these is exactly the same. And it's like, okay, I progressively didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
As the game went on, because they did it too many times. It was too similar. But first time, this was the first dungeon. I loved it. It would have been cool to see more of a mix, though.
That, like the naming, I think all goes in with they wanted a theme. They wanted to like make sense in the story, but I think you sacrifice some gameplay, which was the focus of this game.
Yeah.
For the theme of it. And yeah, we did a video where we talked about the bosses of every dungeon, but do you want to touch on Water Blight Ganon? So,
since I was running through the game, I was incredibly underpowered, and I had no arrows. That was the big thing. So everybody who I've talked to about, like, I told them, I struggled with Water Blight Ganon. Like, Water Blight Ganon, he was easy. You just shoot him with arrows. I'm like, I didn't have any arrows. And it's like, your experience fighting Water Blight Ganon is drastically different whether you had arrows or not. And I think in particular, ice arrows are good. But I imagine shock arrows would be good too if Pokemon has taught me anything.
Yep.
So without arrows, he was impossible, and I had no armor. My armor was like 5, I think, at the time.
Oh boy.
So he was killing me with, so it was a rough battle. Like I died like 20 times in a row, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but something's not right. So I left. I didn't fight. I didn't beat him.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think part of that too is the game wanting you to play a specific way, where you're exploring more, collecting things, making potions or elixirs and stuff like that.
Right. I didn't do any of that. No. So I ended up going to the Goron area, beating that dungeon, coming back to this dungeon, and then beating Waterblood again.
That's wild. So yeah, afterwards we're also treated to one of, not a memory actually, but a scene where they kind of cap off Mipha's story in this game. What did you think of that?
I thought it was cool. I like Mipha.
Mm-hmm.
She's cool.
Yeah,
I like her design. She's like, I don't think there's any other Zoras like that.
Yeah.
I thought her voice acting was good too. Very like, compared to some of the other characters, she was very like soft spoken and quiet and soothing. I would say. Mm-hmm. I guess she's a healer, so why not?
Yeah. It fit very well.
I liked her. Yeah. The thing is, we don't really see her much though, because especially up until that point, I think you saw her in the one flashback or the one memory when you first get to Zora's Domain. And then you see her after you beat the dungeon. You hear her talking to you. Mm-hmm. Even at that point, I was sort of confused. I was wondering, is that the same voice I was hearing at the beginning of the game? Because her voice and Zelda's voice are very, they're distinctive, but
now after having finished the game, I hear it differently, but I thought the same thing. So
yeah, there was a point of confusion for a little while. Mm-hmm. Then when I got to the Goron one, then I understood it better. So you don't really, you don't see her as much as, if you think of this game draws a lot from like Ocarina of Time in the sense that like each of the dungeons are focused around a character, if you know what I mean. Like how like there was Darunia was the character from the Fire Temple in Ocarina, and Ruto was the character in. I thought you had a much stronger bond with like Ruto in the Water Temple because you saw her when she was a kid, and you had development there.
And in this game, with all of them, they actually kind of, not all of them, but there's two characters almost.
Right. Yeah.
There's the person in the present. Yeah. It's like, well, what about Sidon?
Yeah.
I guess there's a connection because they're siblings, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. He holds you in such high regard, even though everyone else blames you for his sister's death.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting, but I don't think they developed. We've talked about the story. I don't think they developed it enough. So
yeah, but she was okay though.
Yeah, what we did see of her was okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your overall impression of this area?
Oh, it was great. I liked it. It was, especially the first one. The big thing for me was the manipulation of the dungeon. Because it was so brand new to me, and I loved it. Just like jumping on this trunk and adjusting it and jumping like it was like nothing was off limits. It seemed with that. So like I was totally in love with the game at this point.
Yeah. Without getting too much into it, do you think this one did that manipulation better than the other ones, or is it because it was the first one you played?
It was the first one. This one actually had the most easy to understand manipulation.
Yes.
The other ones got a lot more confusing, I thought. Actually, I think that probably the Rito one might be easier to understand, but they're similar in that sense. Whereas the other ones, the Goron one and especially the Gerudo one, it was a bit of a brain cramp trying to figure it out. It was kind of overwhelming at some points. But
I got very stressed out during one of those, actually. We'll talk more about those some other time, though.
Yeah.
But, let us know what you thought of this area as a whole. Maybe let us know what order you did the the dungeons in. That would be interesting.
I can't imagine if somebody like went to the Gerudo one first.
Yeah, especially the powers you get
Yeah.
are kind of, some are more helpful early game than others. So this one is actually very helpful early game.
Right. Yeah.
The Mifa's Grace, I
Yeah.
think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you thought, and let us know if you have any other questions about the game. And thanks for watching.